So not for the first time here on this channel, we need to talk about Dr. Helmut Marko, who has made some what I would call embarrassing comments. Not the thing that he is describing as embarrassing, but he himself has been quite embarrassing and pathetic with what he's said. So for those that don't know, for those that didn't see the Australian Grand Prix early on Sunday morning, Isack Hadjar very much had a debut to forget in Formula 1. He ended up crashing out on the formation lap to the grid, didn't even start the race, and was very, very upset as a result. It was really, really hard to watch. A 20-year-old young man, barely a man at that age, you know, someone making their debut in Formula 1, all that hype, all that expectation, all the pressure of being in a Red Bull team. Of course, he drives for the Racing Bulls, does Hadjar, and he broke down and cried. Now, this is not the first time we've seen a Formula 1 driver break down and cry on the track. Remember Mika Häkkinen back in Italy, 1999, I want to say, where he crashed out from the lead. And of course, at that time, you know, he was 30 odd years old, a very experienced Formula 1 driver and a world champion. This is, like I say, he's 20 years old, is Isack Hadjar. And at that moment, what he needed was an arm round his shoulder, someone to comfort him. And he got that in the form of Anthony Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton's father. And of course, Hamilton is Isack Hadjar's racing hero. You know, he said many, many times now that, you know, Hamilton is the guy that he's always looked up for. And now he'll compete against him on the track. I mean, he'll hopefully do that for the first time in China this weekend coming up. And Anthony Hamilton rightfully got a lot of praise for what he did. You know, he went up to him in the paddock and basically put an arm around his shoulder and said, "It's going to be all right, kid. You know, you're going to be fine." In fact, I'll just get the exact quote here on ESPN that Anthony Hamilton said he talked about, because on the live coverage we saw it, but I couldn't quite hear what was being said. Anthony Hamilton, that is, said the following about this. He said, "When I saw it happen, my heart just sank for him," he told Sky Sports News. Not just for him, for his parents, for everything they've done to work hard to get this 1 point, and it's like it's snatched from you. I just feel terrible for him. So I thought, you know what? I need to go and tell this kid, keep your head high, walk tall, you're going to come back. I think he's a phenomenal driver. I think there's more to come from Isack than we probably have seen this weekend. And Christian Horner, who's the boss of Red Bull, echoed this as well. He said, "It was quite heart-wrenching to see him so gutted in his first Grand Prix. I think the positives he needs to take out of it when he reflects on the weekend. He performed very well through the practices and the qualifying. You forget that these guys are really just kids. Obviously, a lot of emotions for him today, but I think when he strips it back, there is an awful lot of positives he can take out of the weekend. He's got so many bright days ahead of him." So those are relatively sane comments. They are absolutely fine, you know. Christian Horner being a voice of reason, Anthony Hamilton being a voice of reason. But Helmut Marko, Dr. Helmut Marko. Now, I talk about this guy a lot. Now, I actually kind of defended him a little bit recently. I said that a lot of the things he says in the press, I don't think he truly believes. And I think he's just trying to play the public, play the other teams, a bit of gamesmanship. Some people don't like that. I don't have a huge problem with it in general, but Marko has said some stuff that is rather controversial, to say the least, in the recent past. Remember his South American comments about Sergio Perez, who, by the way, is Mexican. He's not even South American. And what Marko said was borderline racist, I would say. But anyway, that is a different issue. Let's talk about what he said about Hadjar, because this has really enraged me, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that's the aim of what he said, but I think what he said is totally inappropriate, to be honest. Marko said to ORF, "Isack Hadjar did a little bit of crying after his crash. That was a bit embarrassing." Now, like Horner said, and I can't believe I am sticking up for Christian Horner and agreeing with Christian Horner on it, but he's right. These guys are relative kids. They are so inexperienced at life in general at 20 years old. You don't know what's going on in the world. You think you do, but you don't. You got a lot of growing up still to do at that age. Now, for anybody who's watched Isack Hadjar in the junior series, as I have done extensively, you would know that he is very much a young man who wears his heart on his sleeve. His radio outbursts obviously do catch the headlines, but he's a very emotional young man as well. When things go great, he celebrates like it's won the world championship, and you know, all power to him. Good on you, kid. If that's how you want to do it, go and do it. But he's also someone on the flip side of things that is very emotional as well, and we saw that on Sunday. There is no problem with him having that reaction. That is his emotions. He is a human being, right? Simple as that. There's nothing wrong with men crying. Simple as that. And for Marko to go out there and say that it was embarrassing, no. Hadjar himself, I'm pretty sure he directly said that his driving was embarrassing, but his actions, his emotions after that were not embarrassing. They were a normal human's reaction to what was an extremely disappointing thing. You think about what this kid has had to do. I know that some people will say, well, these are Formula One drivers. They're all made of money. They're minted. That might be the case now for some of them, not all of them. You'd be surprised, right? They're well off, don't get me wrong, but they are not mega rich unless you're the Lewis Hamiltons, the Fernando Alonsos, or the Max Verstappens, the world champions of the world. The lower down drivers, the rookies in particular, a lot of them aren't, right? And a lot of them do come from not the richest backgrounds either. I don't know what Hadjar's background is personally. I don't know if he's got particularly rich parents. I don't know, right? Some of them do, some of them don't. But regardless of that, he has dedicated his entire life to this from the age of probably about 5 or 6 years old when he first started karting. Every moment, every season, every race, every win, every retirement, every podium, every pole, every fastest lap, everything has been dedicated to that, his debut in Formula One. That has been his aim since day one, and it all came crashing down for him in that one moment. Now, of course, he's got a whole season. He's got a contract with Racing Bulls. He will come back again in China. But in that moment, he's not thinking about that. He has had years of his life, the vast majority of his life, ever since he's been knee-high to a grasshopper. Not the tallest bloke anyway, I don't believe now, but, you know, he has been dedicating his entire life to that, and it all came falling apart in that one moment. And if you don't cry, if you don't feel emotional, sad, depressed, dejected at that point, I'd be shocked. I'd be more concerned if you didn't feel like that personally. Each to their own, of course. I'm not expecting that everybody in that situation will cry. I don't think Jack Doohan was crying after he retired. That's how he deals with it. That's how he copes with it. That's fine. He might have cried when he got back home. Don't know. Not sure. But Hadjar had that reaction, and there is nothing wrong with that. And to label it as embarrassing is embarrassing in itself, Marko. So I think you owe Mr. Hadjar an apology for that, because all you're doing now is putting more pressure on him. And I know before anybody says it, that's what Red Bull do. Yes, that is what Red Bull do. Does it make it right? No, absolutely not. We've seen how these drivers crumble. We've seen how they struggle. We've seen how incredible drivers have absolutely just sank rather than swim at the senior Red Bull team over the years. It's happened to Gasly, who has proven himself to be a very capable driver since then. It happened to Albon, who has proven himself to be a very capable driver after that. Perez, who proved himself to be a very capable driver before he joined Red Bull. And it might well happen to Liam Lawson now. I hope it doesn't. I don't want it to. I really like the kid. But I tell you anything, he is absolutely going to have massive pressure on him after that first race, as is Hadjar, and it's not right. I know this is Formula One, I know this is cutthroat. There's certain pressures that are inherent in the sport. The pressure of driving a 200-mile-an-hour rocket ship of a car, but, representing these billion-dollar corporations, racing for all these fans, in some cases for the entire hopes of a nation. That is all part and parcel of Formula One, but you don't need to go heaping on pressure like that, Marko. It's just not right. It's not on. I'm sick of it, to be honest. I really am. I do give the guy the benefit of the doubt sometimes. I do. Because I think with the experienced drivers, with the drivers up in the championship, you can kind of understand it a bit. It's a bit of gamesmanship. It's a bit of something, a bit of edge, This is just needless, though. This is a 20-year-old man. Made his debut in Formula One. And it didn't go to plan. But you don't need to go doing that. And I passionately ranted about this for far too long. I didn't mean to do that. I meant this to be a 5-minute video, a quick video, but it's been in like 10 minutes. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what I have to say about this. I will try and intersplice as many images and stuff in here to kind of break things up. But yeah, I hope I've made my thoughts clear on it, because I just don't think it's right. I really don't. Your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Have I gone a bit too far with this myself? Have I been embarrassing? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this, because I do think Hadjar's a talented kid. I think he'll do well in Formula One, but he don't need that. He don't need that. Simple as. If you want to support us some more, please do head over to the Substack, the largest Formula One newsletter in the world. I do always rep that whenever I get the chance. I hope you have a fantastic start to your week, and hope you have a great race in China this weekend coming up too. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys. And I will link Let's link the Antonelli video. Let's go with somewhere positive. I'll link the Antonelli video at the end of this, just going over how he had a fantastic weekend and how his penalty had been overturned and why he had been overturned after the Australian Grand Prix. See you very soon, guys. Have a great day.